real great compliment for you.
Forget about it.
Son of a bitch. He stole my line.
Were you aware that this is our 50th episode?
Oh, wow. Happy anniversary.
Yeah.
Let me back up.
Yeah, nice. Got to celebrate. We should have a drink right now.
Yeah.
So it feels like we're also like halfway through the years here. We're at top 5 movies of 1997. Are you prepared for this?
Prepared, yes.
All right, let's do it. I think I started us off last time.
Okay.
So you hit me first.
Okay. I this morning I just changed my order again.
Okay.
Again, these will be my favorite movies because
Yeah.
there were some other really high ranked movies,
Right.
by critics and stuff during that year. 2 of which I did not include on my list.
Okay.
And one of them I did see again 3 nights ago.
Yeah.
And I still, despite the critics going crazy over this thing, I still didn't like it and I still didn't put it on my list.
I wonder if that's what is something that's on mine, but we'll see. So
Okay.
what's your number 5?
My number 5 is The Fifth Element.
Ah, okay. You know, I never saw that whole thing.
Really, I've seen it like 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
Like every time it comes on TV, I'll watch it again.
Yeah, I've always just seen bits and pieces and it never really compelled me for some reason.
Yeah, it was like a doomsday movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I don't even remember how many years. I should remember by now. I think it's like every 700 years. Don't quote the 700. I think that's what it is. This thing comes out again to destroy the world. And then they have to get these 4 elements together.
Yeah.
And then they have a person emerges as the 5th element.
Right. And that was another reason I wasn't compelled to see it, because someone gave me kind of a reveal about one of the characters in the movie.
Yeah, and that was I can never say her name.
Right. Yeah. Mia somebody.
Mia Jovovich.
Yeah. Right. I think that's right.
Right. Yeah. Her name in the movie was Lulu.
Okay.
Lulu. Yeah. And it was almost like, it was a sci-fi and it was almost like a comedy movie. I mean, again, Oldman is playing the bad guy in the movie.
As he does so well. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Willis is playing the good guy, of course.
Of course.
And he's a taxi cab driver. She falls into his taxi, and that's how the whole thing gets started.
And Chris Tucker's in it too, right? Doesn't he have some comic relief?
Oh yeah, he plays this announcer. The whole thing is he wins a trip because they got to get the 4 stones in order to complete the thing. So that's the 4 elements. Each stone represented each one of the 4 elements: water, earth, fire.
Right.
Whatever the other one is. And then so they had to get those. So there was a state winning a trip thing, and she's like the announcer.
Yeah.
I say she. It was really a he. She was like a transvestite.
Okay.
Basically.
Interesting.
A loud, noisy transvestite.
Yeah.
So that was like the big comedic scene.
Okay, gotcha.
Right. And then they had these weird costumes and stuff like that.
Yeah, so very over the top kind of action comedy.
Right.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, good
So
pick.
he had to keep Lulo alive too, you
Yeah.
know,
Right.
and all
Of
this other
course.
stuff. But it's a classic sci-fi movie.
All right. I'll have to add to my list
Yeah, you
and
gotta
get to it.
see it.
All right. All right. Cool. Well, my number 5, I think, might be on your list. We may have this one in common. As Good as It Gets.
Yes.
You do
I
have
had
it?
to, I had to check because this
Yeah.
morning it was number 6.
Okay.
Now it's number 4.
Okay, cool. So
Okay.
yeah, good spot for it. Yeah, Jack Nicholson. I think he won an Oscar for this one, which was pretty well deserved. I mean, he played a great like OCD character that he can't even
Yeah.
walk on the cracks on the sidewalk and
He,
all this
he
stuff.
couldn't even leave his apartment.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
that was traumatic enough.
Right.
Just
Right.
leave the apartment.
Yes. But then he's
And
put in
then
the position to take care of his neighbor's dog, Cuba Gooding Jr., and like he hates the guy and he hates the dog. And then he makes these friendships with is it Helen Hunt plays the
well, didn't she used to go to his house to do stuff for him?
well, she was his waitress. And
That
then
was it. Yeah, waitress. You're right.
right.
Yeah. So, and and now I remember the scene now too, where
Yeah.
he wouldn't let anybody wait on him.
Right.
But her.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So
And then
then
there was a time she wasn't there.
right. Because
And he
her
was
son was sick. He had like a thing, so he went to go see her and help her. So yeah, he gets to know these people on a more human level, and then therefore becomes a bit more normal himself in the process. And Greg Kinnear played great as well. Um, the gay he was also a neighbor, or I can't remember how they actually ended up connecting, but they go on this road trip, and then Nicholson has these great speeches about noodle salad and things that make no sense, but it's a good romantic comedy, and
Yeah, well, I think one of the best romantic comedies that
yeah.
I saw that I've seen.
Yeah, because he has to earn the romance really by the end of the
Yeah,
movie, and he
yeah,
does. So
yeah. I mean, it was a really hard journey for him, but
right, yeah.
in the long run, it paid off.
Yeah, there's a running thing throughout the movie where he keeps saying, I've got a good compliment for you." Like he has to preface it, and he's like, "No, I really do this time." And because sometimes he's very offensive, but then
Yeah, and his compliments were like a double meaning thing.
right, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So yeah, okay, good one. So what's
So,
that was your 4. So my number 4 is probably one that, like you said, critics loved it, but maybe you didn't. Boogie Nights.
yes, that was one of them.
I knew it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good movie. I liked it. There was a lot of porno in the movie, obviously, because it was a movie about the porn industry.
Yeah.
You know,
Based on real people, but not quite the real people.
yeah, right. Yeah, not the real people, obviously, in the movie and stuff. So it was like a look at how they make porn movies, basically.
And being based in the 70s and early 80s, which added to a lot of the humor of it, like just how people were dressed and acted. And it was interesting to see Burt Reynolds in the role of, the producer of these films. And a lot of humor, like especially when Mark Wahlberg is hanging out with John C. Reilly, and they make up these characters with these ridiculous names that they think are cool, but it's really stupid. And,
I know.
but it was like true to that era. of the porn days. But yeah, lots of great actors. Heather Graham as Roller Girl. She was on roller skates the whole movie.
Yeah.
Paul Thomas Anderson directed it great. Of course, just a who's who of cast in the movie, and everybody was great. William H. Macy playing the meek husband of the guy whose wife is just having sex with everybody throughout the movie. Just ridiculous. And then, of course, the soundtrack was great. But yeah, probably a little long. I think it's like 2.5 hours. And
yeah, I had a problem with the length of the movie too.
Right. But this was like Mark Wahlberg's like coming onto the scene as an actor, really. This was what got him known, and he was really good in the role. I thought it would suited him well. So not on your list. Okay, so what's your number 3?
My number 3 is Contact.
Okay. I thought you might have this one.
Yeah.
Not on my list.
It's one of my favorites. I must have seen this movie like 10 times. It's also my wife's favorite movie.
Really?
Yeah.
That's surprising.
Yeah, I know.
Good, but yeah, great sci-fi movie.
I know. Directed by, Zemeckis.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I mean, he keeps coming out with like hits after hits after hits after hits.
Yeah. And for Zemeckis, this was a bit more intellectual of a movie.
Yeah, it was. It had a religious overtone to it.
Right.
Obviously, Jodie Foster and McConaughey.
Right. McConaughey plays like a priest, right?
Yeah, well, more like a preacher.
Yeah.
Like one of those Southern preachers, but not like those boisterous Southern preachers.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Probably be more like a Billy Graham.
Right. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. So him and Jodie Foster were a thing, and then he left, and she was still doing her thing with the listening for aliens and thing, and then they got a contact.
Right. Yeah.
And then they got information, and now they were trying to discuss the information, and then Hurt was this millionaire that was, excuse me, dying of cancer.
Yeah.
And he gave her the money to be able to figure what was going on, and he gave her hints also.
Yeah, and it was interesting how like this goes into the whole wormhole theory, and like it really gets into that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and the ending was pretty. I mean, she went through this whole experience of going through the wormhole,
right,
and talking to this alien in her father's image.
Right. Yeah, I remember
because
that.
they knew that the alien knew that was like the most recognizable thing that would be pleasing to her.
Right.
Because her father died when she was like young and stuff like that.
Yeah. And that way, like it had a little bit of like a Close Encounters feel to it.
Right. So she had this whole experience and went back. And then they told her it was only like something like 15 seconds or 3 minutes or something like that. So, then it was this whole thing about, whether she actually did this.
Yeah, right.
And then they said, but the tape was a lot longer.
Right. Yeah. Pretty interesting. Yeah, I just realized, McConaughey's been in a couple of sci-fi epics of that, like, Interstellar he went on to be in, which had kind of time and space.
The religious overtone was basically that Foster didn't believe in God.
Right. Yeah.
And so McConaughey said to her, well, what do you think now?
Yeah. Right, exactly. And I don't remember, her opinion did change or no?
I don't recall that there was an answer.
Okay. Yeah, they left it
Yeah,
open-ended. Yeah.
yeah, it was open-ended.
That's cool. Well, yeah, good pick. So my number three, I don't know. I remember you really liking this. You hadn't seen it until a few years ago. So I don't know if this will make your list or not, but Good Will Hunting.
Yes, and that's
Ah,
higher on my list.
very nice. Okay. Yeah, directed by Gus
Yeah,
Van Sant.
I never saw this movie until you showed it today.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's cool. That's a good one.
uh,
Yeah, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, who wrote the screenplay, and
yes, along with Matt Damon.
yes,
Yes, they both wrote it.
yep,
And it looked
and
like there was a little nepotism because Ben's brother was also in the movie.
yes, right. That's true. And yeah, Matt Damon, I mean, man, he wrote himself a really good role with a lot of dialogue that he's just spouting off all this stuff. He was basically this genius that worked as a janitor in a
Yeah,
school up in Boston, and the Boston accents are great. Of course, the acting is great, and then he has to see this therapist because he's got a lot of childhood trauma, played by the great Robin Williams.
yeah, and they had, you know, they meshed really well,
Oh
William
yeah,
and Damon in the movie.
yeah,
The relationship was, excellent.
yeah. Williams, one of his best roles, and he won Best Supporting Actor for it. Uh, Totally deserved it. I mean, he was great, and the whole scene at the end where he's like, "It's not your fault," over and over again, and then kind of like that breakthrough where that he needed to get past, because essentially he was really holding himself back from success, uh, because he wanted to be like this tough guy. But yeah, great ending where he goes to see about a girl is the line, and she was great too. I can't remember the actress's name, the British actress. Um, but yeah, really cool. Oh, Minnie Driver, that was
Yeah,
it.
and he
Yeah,
drove.
yep. So okay, higher on your list. Uh, so what is your number two?
My number two is Titanic.
Ah, another one that's not on my list. But yeah, of course. I mean,
Yes, the blockbuster movie. Uh, you know, uh, became number one on the all-time movie charts for
yep,
gross sales and things like that.
yes. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, come on,
it
James
was
Cameron,
yeah,
one
it was
epic movie.
yeah. It was basically a romantic movie, with the sinking of the Titanic as the backstory. But
Exactly, yeah.
great special effects. I mean, the story was really good too.
Yeah,
Uh, it they were basically showcasing uh, things that were on the original Titanic.
yeah,
You know,
exactly. Yeah,
it,
I mean, and obviously he was like obsessed with the real Titanic story, so he got every detail, down. But yeah, great showcase for DiCaprio and Kate Winslet.
yeah.
Some other really good actors in the movie too.
I mean,
But
I can't remember offhand how many Oscars it won.
yeah, I mean, I don't know if it holds. I don't think it holds the record for most Oscars won, but it's up there for sure.
Yeah, definitely up there.
And I remember DiCaprio wasn't even nominated, which a lot of people were annoyed about. But I mean, he was young at the time. But that's interesting. So your one and two are Damon and DiCaprio movies.
Yes.
Who, they've gone on to be the best in the business, basically. But yeah, very good pick. I almost put that as my honorable mention, but there were so many good movies that year.
Yeah, there
So
was. You know, it was hard to pick. That's why I just did my favorites.
Yeah, same here. So yeah, so my 2 and 1 are still unknown. So
True they are.
so this is
What are you throwing at me now?
this one is one that was not like very highly critically acclaimed, but it's one that I revisit often, mainly for Al Pacino's performance. And it is
Al Pacino.
yes, The Devil's Advocate.
Oh yeah, The Devil's Advocate. Yeah,
where he plays the devil himself.
that's
I think
right.
it's out of all the movies where someone plays the devil, you know, of course, Nicholson did it in Witches of Eastwick. I think this is the best one.
Yeah, that was a really good movie.
Yeah. And Keanu Reeves, even though his Southern accent was ridiculous,
Yeah,
he was really good as well.
His acting has gotten better,
Yeah.
in this movie. I mean, he's coming up.
Right.
His acting is improving every time.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was great as the lawyer that's, he's being offered this better job up in New York, and his wife, played by Charlize Theron, she's noticing some issues as the movie goes on, but he's getting more and more into his job and kind of putting her on the side. But yeah, masterful acting by Pacino, and then by the time it ends, it takes a little while you're getting these clues kind of revealing, but by the time the ending is so great too, like the whole scene where he's just spouting off against God and wanting his son. It's revealed, that Keanu is basically the Antichrist and all this stuff. But and then, not to give too much away, which I already have, but where so much of it is in his own mind, and then you think that he makes the right decision, but then Pacino comes back at the end and says, "Vanity, my favorite sin." So it's like, it's a constant battle always, because the devil is always there, So I love that aspect of it also. So anyhow, my number 1 is also a Pacino movie, which it's one of my favorite mafia movies that I think also doesn't get its due when being put up against Godfather and Goodfellas and stuff. But Donnie Brasco, which was another great movie with Johnny Depp kind of coming into his own, into a dramatic role. And this has one of my favorite repeat lines, "Forget about it," which I don't know how many times they say it in the movie, but
I know, I say it too.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, there's that whole scene too where they talk about what "forget about it" means, when Johnny Depp, Paul Giamatti's asking him, he's like, what is this "forget about"? And he's like, "Oh, it's like when you see something great, it's like, forget about it. But then it can also mean, oh, that's not good, forget about it." It's so great. But Pacino again, like, this role kills me too. Like at the end, when he knows he's gonna get whacked by his friends, and he's just putting things in the drawer, and he plays Lefty. This was like a true story of this guy who played a hitman in Jersey, and so many lovable characters. Had to have it as my number 1. So now this is going to be interesting to put together. So we got to put Good Will Hunting at 1, because it was your 1 and my 3.
Right.
I don't know that we had, the only other one we had in common is As Good as It Gets, but we had it lower.
Right.
So maybe let's put that at 3, and I'll put Donnie Brasco at 2, since that was my 1. So then, let's see. Your next one. So actually, my next one down is 2, Devil's Advocate. So we'll have to put that at 4. And then Contact is your next one down at 3. So that would make 5.
I had Titanic. That's why.
Oh, geez. Oh, wow. Okay. So we got to fight it out, Titanic and Devil's Advocate. Which one has a better for 4 and 5? I'm pretty sure Titanic will have a higher rating. 3.8. And Devil's Advocate 3.4. Yeah. Okay. So Titanic is 4 and Devil's Advocate at 5. Yeah. Pacino, baby. 2 on 1 list. Yes. Okay. So not bad. So what was your honorable mention?
My honorable mention. Star Trek Troopers.
That I also thought of that as an honorable mention.
Yeah, I mean, this was, it was like the energy, like, they just graduated from the academy, then they get thrown into the battle with the alien insects and stuff, and then, it was like,
the action and the gore was so over the top too.
I know. And what's his name?
There were lots of good actors.
Neil Patrick Harris.
Yeah, right. I forgot he's in that. Yeah,
mind melding with the alien whatchamacallit thing. There was a lot of weird stuff in it, and then there was like these gung ho guys,
right?
The sergeant and stuff.
Michael Ironside, he's always great. Yeah.
So it was a great fun movie. Yeah, and actually, they had 3 sequels to these things. And I never saw any of the sequels.
Me too. Yeah, I didn't either. But yeah, really fun movie. I remember we watched this with Uncle Rich actually. I think at his house.
Yeah, and, I see it a couple. Every once in a while when it comes on, I'll watch it again.
Yeah.
Because it was just fun.
Yeah, total fun. Yeah.
Yeah, like them just like mowing down the aliens and they're like,
and of course they make them look like giant roaches, basically.
Ripping their arms off, ripping their heads off,
right?
Like a little gory thing. The other big one that year, the one that I saw again a couple of days ago that neither one of us mentioned was L.A. Confidential.
Oh, right. Yeah. That was very critically regarded. Yeah.
Yeah. That was heavily regarded also.
I never got much into that one. But my honorable mention was Jackie Brown, the Tarantino movie.
Oh, okay.
Which we've talked about that on our Tarantino
episode.
And
I've never seen that movie.
Yeah. You would like it, I think. It's a good one. It's more of a slow burning movie compared to his other stuff, but the acting is really good.
And then another movie, 12 Angry Men, a remake of the Henry Fonda one.
Oh, I didn't even remember they did a remake.
Yeah, Jack Lemmon played the Henry Fonda character.
Okay.
But I still think that the older one was the better of the two.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why, it didn't make my list. If it was the Henry Fonda one, it would have been way up there.
No, for sure. Yeah, one of the best of all time.
Yeah.
As we've discussed before also.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah, after 50 episodes, we're going to run into some repeats for sure. But, well, cool.
Remakes.
Yeah. Well, good list. Okay, so let's read off 3 and 4's favorite movies of 1997. At number 5, The Devil's Advocate. At number 4, Titanic. At number 3, As Good as It Gets. At number 2, Donnie Brasco, and at number 1, Good Will Hunting. Yeah. Great list,
Yeah,
actually.
it is a good list.
Sorry
Yeah,
that your
it was so many
contact
great
didn't make it.
movies that year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could have done top 10 easily.
Yeah,
So.
easily. At least it would have included all our movies. But yeah, it was a really good year again.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
So yeah, looking forward to 1998, which was also a great year. So which also had a lot of good ones. It's going to be tough to narrow down, but we will see. So I'll see you on the next one. Love you.
Yeah. See you in the next one too. Love you too.
All right, bye.
Bye.